Hey there, Mountaineers! Welcome to episode 19 of Historyland. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt, and in this episode we're going to talk about the history of the Jungle Cruise. Let's get started. Arguably the most important attraction in the earliest years of the park, the Jungle Cruise is one of the shining examples of what set Disneyland apart from other theme parks and amusement parks. With its lush tropical setting, sparkling waterfalls, and diverse ensemble of creatures, it's one of the greatest atmospheric attractions of all time, even over half a century later. Originally meant to feature live animals, Walt decided that they should have something more reliable, and so Jungle Cruise became one of the first attractions to feature animatronics that would help pave the way for the future of every other Disney animatronic. The concept for the Jungle Cruise dates all the way back to 1947, when Walt contacted Alfred and Alma Milotte to shoot documentary footage of the wildlife and creature of Alaska. While Mr. Disney did not see theatrical value in the footage of the humans, he was intrigued by the shots of the seal population at the Pribilof Island. This was the start of Disney's True Life Adventure series, and over the next 12 years, Disney would release 14 of these films. When Disneyland started development, one of the lands from the beginning that Walt wanted was an adventure land based on the films, even being called True Life Adventureland in early concept art. Jungle Cruise itself draws inspiration from the film The African Lion, and while the film released 2 months after the park opened, it was in production for 3 years at that point. And in 1954, construction on the iconic ride began.
We'll be right back with more Historyland.
You know who lives here? Cinderella. I'm pretty sure she has her own room. That's swapped way before your time. And Mickey's here somewhere. Not the one you haul around at home. The real guy. Now, I'll be Jasmine and you be Aladdin.
Come share the excitement at our year-long celebration of Walt Disney's 100th birthday.
Boy, if it wasn't for me, you'd miss everything.
We share a dream come true.
Make plans at disneyworld.ca.
In 1954, construction of Disneyland began, and the Jungle Cruise was one that a lot of resource went into, purchasing many exotic plants and trees, and building the animatronics. In order for the jungle to look realistic, the trees were planted extremely early in construction to ensure that it got at least one growing season. Disney legend Harper Goff was the art director of the ride, and laid out how the river was placed. The story goes, he took the bulldoze operators, took a stick and drew a line, then about 10 feet over, drew another line and told the operators to place dirt on either sides of the lines to create the banks of the river. Walt was extremely proud of the progress of the ride, that he drove a car through the dirt banks during his TV show, and told the viewers what to expect when it opened. The Jungle Cruise opened with Disneyland on July 17, 1955, as the flagship attraction of Adventureland, as well as its only attraction. And it was a massive success. This sea-ticket attraction would take guests on a trip through many of the rivers of the world, with each boat manned by a skipper who would deliver a spiel about the creatures around them in a documentary-like style. At the time, the Jungle Cruise was connected to the rivers of America, and guests would be able to see live alligators that were penned up near the site where they connect. 1956 would see the Jungle Cruise's first change, its promotion to the new D-ticket, and its final major change would occur in 1957, when headhunter Trader Sam set up shop near the end of the river. One final change came in the 50s, the introduction and its promotion to the new E-ticket. Because of its ability to grow and adapt like a real jungle, the Jungle Cruise found a way to incorporate humor into the ride. In the 1960s, Walt Disney asked Disney legend Mark Davis to see if he could add some much-needed humor to some of the rides. What became of this was the Elephant Bathing Pool, the Lost Expedition, as well as some humor scenes to another True Life Adventure-based attraction, Nature's Wonderland. I have a whole video on Nature's Wonderland if you guys would like to know more, so be sure to go to my channel and watch that video. Not many people knew when this happened, but after the introduction of the new scenes, skippers started making jokes and ad-libbing the script, a tradition still done to this day. It was also around this time that the area where the Jungle Cruise and Rivers of America were patched over to make room for the Swiss Family Treehouse. Over the years, the Jungle Cruise grew in popularity and, with that, it started to get replicated in other parks.
We'll be right back with more Historyland.
Did you know every episode of Historyland is made possible because of viewers like you? Thanks to Patreon, we can continue to make high-quality episodes you love, like this one. As always, you have access to our amazing Discord server and videos on YouTube, but for a bit more, you get access to the Yodeler tier, which gives you sneak peeks of upcoming videos and your name in each Historyland video. In the Heralder tier, you get exclusive access to live tapings of Historyland and more behind-the-scenes goodies. And for just a bit more, our Bobsledder tier gives you access to have your voice in an episode of Historyland and have creative input on videos. Here's a special thanks to this month's patrons. The Jungle Cruise was popular enough to replicate in many other Disney parks, like the Magic Kingdom, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. Magic Kingdoms is very similar to the original, except that it's longer and has the boat travel through an ancient shrine, and sometimes real alligators, but those guys just snuck in. Tokyo is identical to Magic Kingdoms, with the only exception being that the boats travel clockwise, while Disneyland and the Magic Kingdoms both travel counterclockwise. Hong Kong's is unique because not only does it pass Tarzan's treehouse, it ends with a climactic battle between the fire and water gods. This version also features 3 separate lines for English, Mandarin, and Cantonese speakers. Of all the Disneyland-style parks, only Shanghai and Paris lack this ride, although Paris had plans for an indoor Jeep ride variant but was scrapped due to budget cuts. If you guys would like to know more about the budget cuts that plagued Disneyland Paris, be sure to check out my most popular video about Disneyland Paris and why it failed. One major change came to the Disneyland version in 1994 when the river rerouted to make room for the upcoming Indiana Jones attraction. To accommodate this, a 2-story queue was built for the attraction, along with some slight retheming to better match the new Indiana Jones ride. Another came in 2005, where one of the boats was repainted gold to commemorate its 50th anniversary, as well as adding new piranha attacking scenes. One last major change came in 2013, when the whole attraction was rethemed for the holidays, the Jingle Cruise. This version would add a little festive flair to the ride, including giving jingle bells to the elephant, a Santa hat on Trader Sam, and turning termite mounds into snowmen. While not entirely sticking to what the original intention was, the Jungle Cruise has been a delight to everyone who takes a trip down the watery pathways, no matter the time of the year, or 2-for-1 shrunken head sales. And that's the history of the Jungle Cruise. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to like the video and share it with your friends. I also wanted to express a big thanks to all my patrons who support me. I am going to be moving soon, and all your donations will be put to good use for when I move to... I'm not going to disclose where, but you guys will see soon enough. And if you haven't already, check out my Discord where we have fun Disneyland discussions and also post a lot of Disney memes. And if you haven't already, check out my weekly podcast that we do with Alex a Historian. Last but not least, be sure to follow me on Twitter. Links will be in the description. That's gonna do it for this episode, Mountaineers. Have a great big beautiful tomorrow.